Welcome, everyone. This is Joe Degger, the host of the Business 901 podcast. With me today is Bill Capodagli. Bill is one of the most recognized storytellers in the cultures of Disney and Pixar, educating audiences with Walt Disney's original success formula of dream, believe, dare, do, that is used by entrepreneurs and Fortune 500 companies alike. Dream, believe, dare, do, that model, as you call it, the Disney way. How was that model put together? Was it something that Walt Disney actually did, or was it naming it something that, you just created to organize the approach?
Well, legend has it that he was at once asked what his secret to success was. And he said he would dream of things that have never been done before. He would test those dreams against his beliefs and values. He would dare to take the risk to make those dreams come true. And lastly, he'd put plans together so those dreams do become a reality. So dream, believe, dare, do, when we started examining the Disney company, it all fit into place. I mean, Walt was very true to his values. He did dare to take the risk. I mean, he was at the verge of bankruptcy, many, many times, and always came out of it. I believe from Walt's death in 1966 to 1984, when Michael Eisner and Frank Wells came in to reawaken the sleeping giant of a company, for those years they really didn't dare. They had a lot of the dreams of Walt. They still believed in their beliefs, but they didn't dare to take the risk. Everybody stood around and said, what would Walt do?
There is a process to this, isn't there? Because when I have the Disney Way Field book, I kind of I'm sort of looking at similar things to Toyota, the Toyota way. I mean, there's a lot of similarities to success, is there not?
There is. I've taught Six Sigma, and I was, in consulting for many, many years. I was trained by Dr. Deming. For 1 year, we sponsored the Deming Institute when I was at a large consulting firm. And my staff and I were all trained by Dr. Deming and put on seminars with him and such. And I would take clients to see Disney, to see their total quality management process. And the people at Disney would tell me, they'd say, well, we don't have a TQM process here. And I said, yes, you do. You just don't know you have it.
Yeah, it's so interesting because it's just kind of a little bit different way, and more of that show, thing, and the plussing and little words like that are used. And I see so much similarity. And like I said, the Disney Way Field book could practically, not to demean either book here, very similar to the Toyota Way Field book.
It is. By all means.
I always thought that the Disney Way was the precursor to design thinking, lean startup, the innovation models of today. And do you see that? I mean, down the right path?
I do. I mean, the storyboarding concept. I mean, people talk about mind mapping now and mind. I mean, it's basically storyboarding and such, and the voice of the customer. I mean, Walt's thinking about the customer and knowing the customer, trying to solve customer problems, trying to make that customer experience as special as he could. Is all things the companies are striving for today.
When I go back to that, I think what's so interesting about it, let's just go to that storyboard for a second. Everybody's building customer journey maps and they're doing service blueprints and they're making 3M a fortune on Post-it notes. Is what they're doing. But that storyboarding concept, that's something that is kind of ingrained in cartooning and started back with Walt back when how did that evolve? I guess I'm asking. Did it start with Mickey?
Yeah, it actually did. When Walt started his cartoon studio back in the 30s, the way that studios were back then, they would have these stacks of drawings around the studio, and you thumb through them. Remember those books when you were kids? You would thumb through and you'd see the characters actually move. Well, rather than do that, Walt had his artists put their sketches on boards and hung his boards on the walls so that you could see the story unfold. They could talk about the dialogue. They could move scenes around. And his cartoons had much more detail than the cartoons of his peers at that time. So he had, hundreds and thousands of more drawings. And before they would start the very expensive process of, hand drawing the thousands of cells, he wanted to make sure that the storyline was correct. and hence the word storyboarding came into being. And then the motion picture industry and advertising industry picked that all up. The first movie that was actually storyboard was Gone with the Wind.
Really?
Right, yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. I've enjoyed this time very much, Bill. What's the best way for someone to contact you and learn more about the Disney Way?
Sure, at our website, www.capojac, that's CAPOJAC.com.
I encourage everybody to take a look at the Disney Way. I can't think of a better way to spend a weekend than reading that book, okay?
Thanks, Joe. You're very kind.
Thanks again. This podcast will be available on the Business 901 iTunes Store and the Business 901 website. So thanks, everyone, for joining us.